Dot, 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 dot. Hey, so this morning's show is a little bit different. We got a bit different show for you today. Yes, I've got a warm cup of gratitude, but I'm calling it the Spark Unofficial Show. And the reason it's the Spark Unofficial Show is I knew I wanted to come on. I knew I had a word that I wanted to drop in you, but I knew that it was going to be a little bit different. Oh, yeah. Than what we're used to. And by that, I mean I'm having a Mr. Rogers moment. Mr. Rogers moment, I'm putting on my shoes, putting on my socks, and the name of today's show is Sometimes You Gotta Go Ham. So no piece of other news today. We will talk about a warm cup of gratitude, but no real lesson other than the lesson we're going to drop on Sometimes You Just Gotta Go Hard. So let's talk about that. First, piece of warm cup of gratitude. Little piece of warm cup of gratitude. This might seem so small to you people, but it's big to me. And it's kind of silly. This right here always reflects the light in the room. And I know it's just ridiculous. And I finally found a place for my ring light up here that doesn't reflect off of any of the things in the background. So that's what I'm freaking grateful for. I'm freaking grateful that we didn't get hit by a hurricane at all. It was really easy. And I'm freaking grateful for some of the breakthroughs I've gotten in the last 12 hours. But let's talk about why you sometimes just go freaking ham. Let's talk about it. Now, if you don't know what ham means, don't make me the guy that's going to make you look it up. You've got Google, look it up. Sometimes you just got to go hard. And by that, I mean this. Sometimes you got to throw out the rule book. Sometimes we talk about habits and we talk about goals. And, if you think about a recommended morning habit, that recommended morning habit is going to be something in the vein of make sure you wake up, make sure you meditate, make sure you drink 2 cups of water when you meditate. Then make sure you work out. Then make sure you journal. Then make sure, what else is it? Then make sure you write in your books. Then make sure you have coffee with your wife. Then make sure you plan the day. Then make sure you execute on the plan. Break every 45 minutes or 25 minutes on the Pomodoro method to do water, walk around the block. Sell between 9 and 11 because all sales happen between 9 and 11. Maybe take a small lunch break where you actually rest, if not nap, if not meditate again in the middle of the afternoon. Then go well into the afternoon. But since fitness is a goal, make sure you get to the gym by 3 p.m. And then make sure you come home and have quiet time and intimacy time with your wife or partner or spouse. And then make sure that you also rolled out the marketing and then got the invoicing done. And then sometime before bed, make sure you read a fiction book or a personal development book of some kind. We know how these days are supposed to go. We know that all of this gets crammed in, but sometimes what's put on your plate is larger than you have bandwidth for. And on those times, you could either crumble, you could cheat. And by cheating, I mean like a lot of times it sneaks in, like people just they'll stress eat, they'll stress drink, and they won't actually be resting, but they won't actually be going hard and overcoming. They're literally stalling. Sometimes like when you stress eat or stress binge shows or whatever it is, you add things in to numb the stress. That's one course of action when there's too much on your plate, truly too much. Some people back down. They say, no, we're just not going to go this direction. Let's ramp down. And then sometimes you go hard. You go ham. Sometimes you go all in. And as an example, this morning, I woke up and I absolutely was overwhelmed at the amount of things on my plate. I had a coffee client's website whose shipping wasn't working. I had another client who emailed me a question out of the blue, and they haven't reached out to me since February, and they asked me a question, and I had no clue what we were talking about. That was this morning. I had 2 sales yesterday. I've got my employees one-on-one that I've got to do today. I've got to make sure I increase their salary in our payroll software. I got to make sure I take yesterday's show and edit it and make sure it's on my podcast show. There's that one guy where I'm going to try microdosing as a Christian and start working with that. And so I needed to get that material and listen to this podcast and understand it. And meanwhile, my plate keeps growing. I got to train my team to take more off my plate. All this stuff started ramping up on me at about 3:50 this morning. And I described this kind of ideal day that the gurus tell you need to have to get through everything. So I did this. This was my protocol. I sat down and I said, I'm going to give myself 20 minutes and then I'm going to go hard. So I took that 20 minutes and I did one particular, a specific type of meditation that I do. And it actually helps me contextualize all the projects and visualize all the projects in a very short 20-minute period. And as soon as that was done, I hung up and I actually got to work. It was about 4:25 and I started working. I scheduled send all of my email in my email inbox so that those emails start going out. I got one going out at 6:45, another one going out at 7:15, and then the rest going out at 8 a.m. I had a whole slew of those. So my inbox is empty. I actually started lining up a course that I'm working on, Your First Funnel. For those who have still not launched into their funnel for their business or their marketing, we have a course coming out called Your First Funnel. So I actually started outlining that. I actually started looking over my employees one-on-one. I looked at my calendar for the day. I sent several calendar invites that people were asking for my time. Hey, can we touch base? And some of it's really good. Hey, I need a new website. Could we touch base before the weekend? And it's like, no, I am like booked straight through. And my calendar keeps loading up. So I actually am deciding that instead of folding, instead of binge eating, stress binging, and procrastinating, I'm going to go hard. I'm going to throw the rule book out and go off balance. I have a good friend, Rob Boudreau, and he and I shared the stage at one of our trainings, and we were teaching about leaning in. We were teaching about going aggressive, and then Rob got up, and a lot of us were talking about balance that day and work-life blend and work-life balance. And that particular day, it dawned on Rob to talk about intentional off balance. If you have good, reliable habits in your life that you can fall back on, that when you're completely exhausted, you go back to the habits, you go back to the ideal day, you get a full night's rest, you do the morning routine that I described earlier in the video, where you're even keeled and thinking calmly and clearly. If you have those habits to fall back on, then another tool in the arsenal is to intentionally go off balance. What I'm calling today going ham. And I don't think people can go ham for long. Rob was talking in his talk about going off balance intentionally for about 90 days, a full quarter. And if you really want to break through in your business, talk to your spouse, talk to your family, talk to your nutritionist and your doctor and say, I am going to go hard. I'm going to go hard, whether it's your fitness, whether it's your health, whether it's your relationships, whether it's work you enjoy. You pick one of the TLE and you say, I'm going to go hard for a full quarter, and I need grace from people around me. And I need support, not just grace, not just give me a pass, but I'm also going to need your help. I don't just need you to get out of my way. I also need you to prop me up to make a breakthrough. We propped Marissa up last summer when she said, listen, I really need to do the PCT. And it was really difficult. Mentally and emotionally, it was difficult. And then when the PCT didn't come through because of pandemic and she got shut down, we had to redirect and say, hey, we need this in Breckenridge. And though she knew it was challenging for me, and I knew it was challenging for me, we still decided to prop that up because it's really important to her. So she spent 2 full months, about 60 days and more before prep and after to come down off of it. But we propped that up. You need those people in your life, and you need to ask for that for people in your life to go hard. Now, today I'm talking about this. I'm having my Mr. Rogers moment because I swore I was going to start putting on my socks while I'm doing the show. But once the camera comes on, I can't help but stop and talk to you guys. But today's one of those ham days where I'm not doing an other news and I'm not doing, a well-planned lesson. I'm sharing insight with you that sometimes in our business, because it's never really clean. You never really transition from being a business owner, from being self-employed where you're working in the business, to suddenly being a business owner when you're working on the business. It's never that clean. And so on days like today, when you have to go hard and you just have to push through, throw the rule book out, load up on coffee, and dig in and focus and clear the deck. Truly have meaningful, successful work so that tomorrow you can go back and fall back to your easy habits. Go hard. Absolutely go hard. So I wanted to give you guys insight into that sometimes it's not so clean. Yes, you guys have heard us talk about our investment properties. Yes, I'm working on this book project where I'm trying to launch this book out. Yes, I'm writing this other book. Yes, I'm doing this course. Yes, we've got a bookkeeping company and a software company brewing in the mix and an investment arm with James Joseph and Spark Sites and all the stuff we're doing. And then I've got training clients who are knocking on my door. I had 3 requests for training this week. Yes, all that is nice and clean and will look really good on Instagram, right? But behind the scenes, I might be up at 4:25 and decide I've got to throw out my morning routine. I got to throw out my day's routine. I got to change things up and go so hard to clear the deck, because these are all these things I listed are really important things. They're places we're going. All of these lovely projects from Spark Training to Spark Explore. We're prepping for a hike in August, Marissa and I, in like less than 3 weeks. And suddenly we got to be in shape. And I looked at the hike, and the hike was like severely difficult. And I was like, huh! And I've never done a multi-overnight hike like this. So like there's so much to get ready for. I should be at the gym this morning, but you need to be comfortable. This is why your regular habits of a stable day, and we deal with a lot of stress, and a lot of the meditation and mindfulness and fitness and health and all that, that's meant to endure stress. But sometimes the stress is beyond. And you either have the decision to fold, throw the blankets over your head, binge eat, binge watch, or to step up to the plate and become a warrior and adopt a warrior spirit. And when you adopt a warrior spirit, this is when you go hard. This is when you face it head on. This is when you say, I don't care what people think today. And I can endure for the next few days or the next few weeks or the next few hours where I will absolutely punch through this wall. And that's where I'm at today. And again, there's nothing in particular. There's just a dog pile on me right now that I have responsibilities for, that I'm holding up my team, I'm holding up my wife, I'm holding up my investments, and I've got to clear the deck. So I just wanted to give you that insight. It's important to see that when someone's on the show all the time streaming and people are like, man, I really need to learn how to make it so easy. Man, it's not. Sometimes you got to be willing to do. I heard a great quote, and I attribute this to Eddie Allen, and I know you've heard it in a variety of ways. Today I do what others are not willing to do, so that tomorrow I can do what others can't do. Hear that again. Today I'm going to do what others aren't willing to do, so that tomorrow I can do what others can't do. I want you to ponder that. And that's all I'm going to give you today, lovely people. I share what we're grateful for. I hope that you're grateful for something and you started this day full of gratitude. I know I did. And I'm really grateful that I have multiple tools, multiple mental tools to fall back on, so that I don't just fold in the face of the challenges that come when you grab new levels. So here's to you today, living an ignited life of explosive significance, and hopefully learn from my sneak peek into my world that sometimes you got to throw the rule book out and get to work and grind and clear the deck. You got to ignore the marketing, got to ignore the extraneous, and get down to the raw bone marrow of what really needs to be done and do it. That's what I'm up to today. I hope you have an ignited life of explosive significance today, and I hope you really spark yourself today. Good luck.